This video breaks down the original Matrix trilogy, clarifying its trickier parts. Use the description's chapter markers to jump to key moments, or just take the red pill and follow along as police trap the infamous hacker Trinity in a mega-city hotel, only for her to move and fight with impossible speed and power. She pulls them free and flees, pausing only until black-suited, sunglass-wearing men displaying the same unnatural powers arrive, at which point she reaches a phone booth. But one agent rams it with a truck. She snatches the phone and vanishes the instant the vehicle smashes into the booth, while elsewhere, software engineer Thomas Anderson, who secretly hacks under the name, Neo discovers a message on his computer. The Matrix has you. Follow the White Rabbit. Later, at a club, he meets a customer who invites him out, and though unsure at first, he joins them after spotting a white rabbit tattoo on someone's arm. There, Trinity approaches, leans in, and whispers that she knows he's been searching for someone. But what he really wants is the answer to a question he already knows. What is the Matrix? She tells him the answer exists. The next morning, Neo receives a package containing a cell phone, which rings. Morpheus is on the line, the man he's been searching for, warning that agents are coming. Glancing from his cubicle, Neo spots three men in dark suits and sunglasses. So Morpheus directs him to flee into an empty office where Neo must choose between escaping out the window or being captured, and he steps onto the building's ledge. He nearly stumbles, mutters, "I can't do this," and surrenders to arrest, only to be taken to an interrogation room where suited men promise to clear his cybercrime charges if he helps them catch the known terrorist Morpheus Neo. But why bother with a phone call? The man asks. If you can't speak, then Neo's mouth vanishes as his lips seal shut. The men slam him onto the table and shove a spider-like machine into his belly button before Neo jolts awake in bed. Neo is told to go to the Adams Street Bridge if he wants to meet there, where Trinity and two others pick him up, remove the real bug from his belly button, leaving him stunned, and take him to Morpheus after disabling the... Neo is there because he senses something is wrong with the world, though he can't explain it. So when Morpheus offers him a choice between the blue pill to wake up in bed as if nothing happened, or the red pill to stay and discover the truth with no chance to undo it, Neo chooses. Morpheus gives Neo a red pill, then takes him to a room where Trinity and others operate machinery linked to a chair. As Neo sits, Morpheus clarifies that the pill was part of a trace program to locate Neo outside the Matrix, and as the process starts, reality warps. Then, Neo wakes up naked in a red fluid-filled pod surrounded by countless identical pods, his body wires detaching before the pod drains him through a tube into a pool below, where a hovering ship swiftly retrieves him. Neo stays barely conscious long enough to hear Morpheus say, "Welcome to the real world," then wakes later in a bed wearing tattered clothes, pulls a wire from his arm, and discovers a mechanical socket at the base of his neck. Just as Morpheus arrives to explain that the year is not 1999, as Neo thought, but nearly 2200 before asking him, he presents the crew, Trinity, Apak, Switch, Cypher, Mouse, Tank, and Dozer, with Tank and Dozer being brothers, while Neo sits in a chair with a cord plugged into his neck, waking in a virtual world where Morpheus greets him and explains they're inside a program where anything can be loaded. Then tells Neo that the reality he knows isn't real, but a computer simulation called the Matrix. Morpheus and Neo suddenly stand in a digital copy of a ruined desert where Morpheus explains that humans built AI which became uncontrollable, leading to war, so humanity blackened the sky to cut off the machine's solar power. But the AI then turned to harvesting humans for energy. Morpheus explains that farms in the Matrix raise humans as power sources while trapping their minds. And though many refuse to accept the truth, Neo wakes in the real world only to panic uncontrollably, vomiting before collapsing, later learning that when the Matrix was first created, a man born inside it could reshape reality at will, freeing the first humans. After his death, the Oracle foretold his return, predicting the Matrix's destruction, the war's end, and liberation for their people. After resting, Neo begins his training and meets Tank, a man without mechanical plugs because he was born in the real world outside the Matrix, who explains that Zion, the last human city, lies deep underground near Earth's core, where warmth remains. Then, Neo undergoes training as Tank uploads Jiu-Jitsu, Kempo, Taekwondo, and other combat skills directly into his mind over 10 hours. After which, Morpheus visits and, when Neo declares, "I know Kung Fu," replies, "Show me," before they spar. In the virtual dojo, where Morpheus never loses, he effortlessly dominates while explaining that physical limits and even gravity can be altered inside the Matrix. Then, Neo speeds up and lands a hit, prompting Morpheus to ask Tank to load the jump program, which instantly places them on a skyscraper's roof, where Morpheus tells Neo, "Read." The crew watches anxiously as Neo makes an impossible leap between buildings outside the simulation, something no one has ever done before. Because if he succeeds, he might truly be the one. But when Neo jumps and hits the ground, the surface warps to soften his landing. Yet, back in reality, he still finds his mouth bleeding, leaving him stunned. The mind validates the experience as real and proves that dying in the Matrix means true death, while reality inside the program persists, something Morpheus demonstrates. Yet no one connected to the Matrix can be trusted, since agents, the suited, sunglass-wearing enforcers who defend it, can seize control at any moment, and as Morpheus warns, anyone who has ever fought them eventually dies. Neo will be the first to succeed, where agents, though impossibly fast and strong, still obey physical laws that he will soon transcend by escaping the simulation, while his crew lands silently, cuts power, and readies an EMP, their only weapon to disable all electronics in the blast radius as a squid-like sentinel hunts them. At the bar, Cypher tells Neo over a drink that he wishes he had taken the blue pill, doubting Morpheus's claim that Neo is the one, while explaining that the Sentinels passed by without incident and the EMP went unused, then gives Neo a warning. If you see an agent, do what we do, run. Later, inside the Matrix, Cypher meets with an agent to find they would return him to the Matrix as a rich, successful man to live in ignorant happiness, provided he later handed over Morpheus, while Nia was brought back into the Matrix to meet the Oracle. But before seeing her, he asked Trinity about her own meeting with the Oracle, only for her to begin answering before pausing and stopping, whereas Morpheus spoke. Morpheus explains that the Oracle, who gave them the prophecy of the One, acts as a guide to help people find their path. In the waiting room, Neo sees children called potentials, each displaying odd abilities, like one boy bending spoons with his mind. And when told the trick is realizing there is no spoon, Neo succeeds in bending it himself before being taken to meet her. The Oracle finds a woman baking cookies, asks Neo if he believes he's the one, and when he hesitates, she replies that if he were, he'd already know, then studies him closely before saying, "You already know what I'm going to tell you, you're not the one." When he accepts this, she adds that Morpheus still believes so strongly he died to save Neo, though she isn't convinced. As Neo is about to die, she leaves it to him to choose who gets the cookie before he departs. But on his way out, he spots a cat, then sees it again, mutters, "Oh, déjà vu," and catches his crew's attention, who then tell him about déjà. A common Matrix glitch occurs when a change traps Mouse, his escape route suddenly bricked off just before a tactical team, sent by the agents after Cypher's tip, kills him since Cypher knew hardwired phones were the only exit and cut the line, stranding the crew inside while their operator, Tank, watches from outside the Matrix and guides them to hide in the wall. A policeman fires at the wall until an agent takes over, who then pulls Neo through it. But Morpheus fights him off, shouting, "You must get Neo out, that's all that matters," though Neo wants to stay and help. Trinity seizes him and drags him along as they battle their way out, while Cypher deliberately stumbles to make it seem like Morpheus accidentally left him behind, only for Morpheus to clash with an agent calling himself Agent Smith, who overpowers him and orders the police to take Morpheus away. Now cut off from the others, Cypher locates a phone with Tank's guidance, escapes to the real world ahead of the group, and immediately grabs a lightning rifle to shoot Tank, Yen, then Dozer, just as Trinity tries to reach Tank. As Cypher answers the phone, he complains bitterly about being exhausted from fighting and enduring their bleak, cold existence. Then, mid-rant, he unplugs Apak, who dies instantly. Switch lunges for Neo's plug just as Tank, revealed to have survived the earlier attack, kills Cypher with a whitening gun and helps Trinity and Neo escape the Matrix, while Morpheus, still inside, is taken to a skyscraper and interrogated by Agent Smith, who explains that the first Matrix was built as a perfect utopia where everyone would be happy. Humans clung to the illusion of a perfect world, but they also kept struggling to escape it, like Morpheus, who was injected with a substance that, over time, would break his mind and force him to reveal to the agents what they wanted, the mainframe access codes to Zion, which every ship leader carries and which the agents, monitoring from outside the Matrix tank, would demand. Tank argues they must destroy the mainframe to wipe out humanity, pull the plug, and kill Morpheus to safeguard the code and Zion. But Neo interrupts, declaring he will enter the Matrix to save Morpheus because the Oracle told him he'd have to choose between Morpheus's life or his own, and he believes he can. Morpheus will survive if Neo sacrifices himself, and since Neo believes the Oracle's words that he isn't the one, he sees his life as worthless. Though the crew thinks Neo is reckless for choosing to save Morpheus over himself, they agree to let him try. But Trinity insists on joining him in the loading program, where Neo tells Tank they'll need an enormous number of guns, and as the weapons load, Trinity argues that because no one has ever attempted this before, it just might succeed. Neo says Smith tells the other agents to leave him alone with Morpheus, removes his earpiece to stop being monitored, and admits he hates this world, especially its smell, and can't stand it any longer, insisting that to be free, he must finish his mission by getting Morpheus. Neo and Trinity use their impossible speed, acrobatics, and guns to fight through the lower floors toward the roof, making progress until an agent appears. Neo fires repeatedly, but the agent evades every shot, then returns fire, forcing Neo to dodge all but one bullet, which strikes and knocks him down as the agent closes in and aims. Trinity shouts, "Dodge this," and kills the agent with a headshot, then asks Neo how he moved so fast like they do. But he has no explanation, so they escape in a tactical team's helicopter, hovering to the building's side to rescue Morpheus before fleeing. Neo attempts to share with Morpheus the truth the Oracle claimed she told him. But Morpheus cuts in, "She told you exactly what you needed to hear, that's all." But Tank locates a hard line at the subway station and they head toward it, though Morpheus and Trinity leave just before Agent Smith arrives, smashing the phone to block Neo from following. Mid-fight, Neo maneuvers Smith into the path of an oncoming subway. The agent steps clear and resumes chasing, and realizing the battle could drag on forever, Neo flees in the real world. As sentinels near the Nebuchadnezzar, Morpheus tells them to ready the EMP, But Trinity cautions they can't trigger it until Neo unplugs. If it fires while he's connected, it will kill him. Morpheus replies, "Don't worry, he'll make it," just as Neo sprints toward the room while agents overwhelm the area, replacing civilians to pursue him. Neo opens the door to find Agent Smith, who fires at him point-blank in the heart. Blood spills from his chest before Smith shoots him 8 more times, prompting Morpheus to mutter, "It can't be." Neo raises his hand to block the bullets when the agents shoot at him, stops them effortlessly, fights Smith one-handed, then flies into the agent and destroys him from within. Before rushing to the phone just as he leaves, they trigger the EMP to halt the Sentinels, and after waking up, he returns Trinity's kiss while admitting, "I know you're afraid." Neo admits in his message to the machines, "I'm scared of you, but I'll show humans what you're hiding. A world without you, without rules or controls, without borders or limits, where anything is possible, then ends the call." Trinity leaps off a motorcycle into the air, battles her way into a guarded building with an agent in pursuit, and nearly gets away before a bullet strikes her chest. Then Neo wakes from the nightmare beside her, terrified. It's a vision. Though he keeps its details to himself, and though she doesn't press him, Trinity senses his fear and reassures him that the Oracle will contact them soon. Later, Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity attend a meeting in the Matrix where crews from other ships have gathered in a hideout, and Captain Niobe tells them 250,000 Sentinels are burrowing from the surface towards Zion. Morpheus confirms everyone must evacuate the broadcast level to unplug from the Matrix and return to Zion, but first requests assistance, explaining that while the Oracle must be consulted before the One's prophecy is fulfilled, someone must remain in case she reaches out. Though he'd stay himself, his ship requires recharging, so he'll leave for Zion and return quickly, asking for a volunteer. Ballard steps forward, but just then, Neo senses something and moves toward the entrance, where Agent Smith drops an envelope containing an earpiece meant for him. Neo declares he is free from the system and no longer follows its orders. Then, senses danger, dismissing the guards before 3 agents burst through the reinforced door, which he fights off effortlessly before flying away. Later, the Nebuchadnezzar, now piloted by the newly added crew member Link, reaches Zion, where Morpheus is immediately summoned by Commander Locke for disobeying orders by requesting a ship remain behind, their tension heightened by Captain Niobe's past loyalty to Morpheus and current allegiance to Locke, who criticizes Morpheus for valuing the prophecy over obeying commands and defending the city. Just as Counselor Hammond arrives to announce a public gathering that night, since the people have noticed unusual activity, forcing them to decide. As Morpheus presses for the truth amid the panic, Neo and Trinity are headed home when civilians, treating Neo like a messiah, interrupt them. While in Zion, Link returns to find his wife Z, sister of the late Tank and Dozer, anxious over his absence. He turns down her plea to transfer to a ship that docks more often, bound by his promise to Dozer that he'd take over the Nebuchadnezzar if anything happened to Tank, and tries to ease her worries by admitting that after everything he's witnessed, he's starting to believe Morpheus, that the war will end soon. That evening at the gathering, Counselor Hammond invites Morpheus to address the crowd, and in his hopeful speech, he confirms the Sentinel army is approaching, but insists they must overcome their fear, reminding them that after 100 years of war with the machines, they still stand together, then declares they should send a message to that army. They will shake the halls with celebration, and Zion remains fearless as celebrations begin, allowing Neo and Trinity a moment alone. Though Neo's mood darkens when he envisions Trinity's death and tells her, "I can't lose you," to which she grips his hand and promises she'll never let go. Meanwhile, Ballard's crew, still trapped in the Matrix, gets a message from the Oracle but encounters Agent Smith, and though most escape, Smith seizes Bane, thrusting his hand into Bane's chest to overwrite him with a copy of himself before exiting via A phone line to take over Bane's body outside the Matrix, while Neo, before leaving, receives the Oracle's summons through a boy who admires him, along with a spoon as a farewell gift from an orphan. Inside the Matrix, Neo then faces the Oracle's guardian. In the test, Neo is led by Seraph through a hallway of programmer back doors to the Oracle's room, where their conversation reveals that both the Oracle and Seraph are machine world programs. Though Neo must decide whether to trust her, she insists her sole concern is the future, explaining that obsolete or malfunctioning programs are normally deleted by returning to the machine's mainframe called the Source. But some evade deletion and hide as exiles, like ghosts, vampires, werewolves, or werewolves. He must visit the place she indicates, the one he's seen in dreams as a door of light, where, after stepping through, he watches Trinity fall but wakes before learning whether she survives, and the Oracle tells him he now has the gift of foresight. He can't see the consequences of his past decisions, which is why he doesn't understand. So you're telling me I have to decide if Trinity lives or dies, he asks. No, she replies. You've already made the choice. You've already made the choice. Now, you just have to realize it. And if Neo fails Zion before leaving, she tells Neo he can save Zion by reaching the Source. But to do that, he needs the Keymaker, who is imprisoned by a dangerous program called the Merovingian. She gives Neo his location and departs, after which Smith arrives and says they share a connection, possibly because part of Neo was imprinted onto him, explaining that after Neo destroyed him, he resisted deletion, became an exile, and is no longer an agent of the system, then reveals there are now many Agent Smiths. As copies and Agent Smith close in around Neo, Smith jams his hand into Neo's chest to transform him into another duplicate, spreading like a virus. But Neo fights back against the swelling crowd of Smiths before escaping by flying towards Zion, where the Council orders Commander Locke to dispatch a ship to locate the Nebuchadnezzar after receiving no updates. Locke warns that a single ship could take days to find them. But when the Council demands two, he refuses, calling the risk of losing both unacceptable. The Council denies his request for defensive ships and instead recruits volunteers, Captain Sorin of Y, the Vigilant, and, to Locke's surprise, Captain Naobi of the Logos, while Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus arrive at a restaurant to meet the Merovingian and his wife Persephone, who is flanked by all white-clad twin guards. The Merovingian declares that causality, action, and reaction is the sole truth. But Morpheus counters that choice comes first, only for the Merovingian to dismiss this, argue it, that Neo only came because the Oracle in Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus encounter Persephone on their way to the Keymaker, whom she knows because her husband, whom she suspects is cheating, works with him, and she agrees to lead them to him, but only if Neo kisses her as passionately as he would kiss Trinity. So he does so reluctantly before she helps them. Neo tries once more, takes off his sunglasses, and kisses her with deeper passion. She leads them to a back door that, once locked with a specific key, opens into a mansion, guiding them to a concealed room where the Merovingian's prisoner, the Keymaker, is held. But as they exit, the Merovingian and his guards cut them off, ordering the twins to pursue the Keymaker, who suddenly turn ghostly and translucent as they drift toward him, forcing him to flee, while Morpheus and Trinity give chase. Key. As Neo remains to face the Merovingian and his guards, he halts their barrage of bullets, forcing them into close combat, where they grab antique weapons from the Merovingian's collection. Once the guards are beaten, the Merovingian flees through a doorway and slams it shut behind him. But when Neo opens it, he's instantly transported to a mountain range 500 miles away. Meanwhile, Morpheus and Trinity struggle against the twins, whose ghostly powers let translucent bullets pass through them, allow them to phase through walls, and Link locates them at a freeway exit where the twins and pursuing agents sent to eliminate the Keymaker in exile ambush them mid-battle. But Niobe arrives in the Matrix to aid the fight, and together they barely manage to shield the Keymaker. Though the agents overpower them and nearly destroy both Morpheus and the Keymaker, Neo completes his 500-mile flight just in time to rescue them, after which the Keymaker directs Morpheus, Seraph's group. Before the mission starts, Neo makes Trinity promise to stay out of the Matrix and to enter. They must cut the building's power, blowing up a nearby station and disabling its off-site emergency backup, so he'll have just 5 minutes to reach the source through the bomb-rigged door once the alarm-triggered explosives are disarmed. He won't say why, but he hopes this will stop the future he's dreamed of, where she dies just before midnight when Niobe's team attacks the power station while Soren's team reaches the backup system. Though in reality, Soren's ship is destroyed by Sentinels, killing him and everyone aboard, their bodies collapsing lifeless in the Matrix as their minds are gone, leaving Niobe's team to disable the power station. The backup system stays on, keeping the building's explosives armed, so Neo and Morpheus enter the restricted hallway where the door inside can't be reached by Link, and they can't be warned that opening it will detonate the bomb with no alternatives, while Trinity, breaking her word, re-enters the Matrix to disable the backup system herself. In the hallway, Neo, Morpheus, and the Keymaker face Smith and his clones, and the fight as Trinity disables the power system to prevent the explosion upon arrival. The door unlocks safely, but just as it closes, the Smiths fatally shoot the Keymaker, who, with his last breaths, tells Morpheus which door leads home and hands Neo a key, whispering, "You'll know which one." Neo rushes through the white door into a monitor-filled room projecting possible reactions to what comes next, where a man at the center, introducing himself as the architect, the Matrix's creator, finally exposes the truth. The first Matrix collapsed because its perfection made it feel unreal to humans, and the second attempt also failed. A new program designed to study the human mind, called the Oracle, discovered that people needed the ability, even unconsciously, to choose whether to accept or reject the Matrix, so they built an updated version with that option, and 99% accepted it. The machines realized the remaining 1% could cause trouble if ignored, so they let those who reject the simulation flee to Zion. But whenever Zion grows too large, they wipe it out and reboot the Matrix, a cycle that has repeated 5 times already and is about to happen once more, while the addition of choice also brought an unplanned consequence. The architect couldn't remove the resulting flaw, so they worked it into their design, directing the one's life to always return here, where the architect then presents a choice. The one must pick 23 people, 116 female, 7 male, to repopulate. Zion can still serve as humanity's false hope even after its fall, while the one must return to the source, letting their code spread briefly to neutralize the threat until the anomaly returns and the cycle repeats. A process Neo's 5 predecessors followed because they had been guided all their lives to deeply bond with humanity and thus always chose self-sacrifice for its survival. The architect notes that while Neo is human like the others, he senses a unique bond, yet also feels something they don't: love for one person, Trinity, who is being chased by an agent inside the Matrix after Neo shouts and she shuts down. Without Neo's help to shut down the backup system, she will die, fulfilling his nightmare, so he faces a choice: One door leads to the source, where Trinity and Zion perish. The Matrix resets for its 7th version, and Neo picks 23 people to rebuild Zion, restarting the cycle while the other door returns him to the Matrix. Neo can rescue Trinity, but doing so will crash the system, kill everyone linked to the Matrix, destroy Zion, and wipe out humanity. Yet he picks love, turns toward the door back to the Matrix, and as Trinity lies dying from the agent's gunshot, the One uses his abilities to enter her body, extract the bullet, and, after her heart stops, revive it, saving her life before they kiss in the real world. While Neo later reveals to Morpheus that the prophecy was false, the One was never destined to end anything but was simply another layer of control, a claim Morpheus rejects, arguing Benio's point that he doesn't accept it. If the prophecy had been right, the war would have ended when he reached the source, but now Zion faces destruction in a matter of hours. "I'm sorry, Neo," Morpheus admits. "I know this is hard, but I promise you it's true." Just as an alarm shrieks, signaling sentinels closing in, one beyond EMP range and armed with a bomb, forcing them to flee the ship before the Nebuchadnezzar erupts behind them, while Morpheus murmurs, "I once had a dream." But that dream is over now. Neo notices the approaching sentinels and senses something unusual, so he stops, raises his hand, and seemingly crushes the machines with his mind, causing them to fall before he collapses unconscious, only to be rescued by the arriving ship. The Hammer, whose captain Roland confirms Neo's vitals are stable but that he remains in a coma. While still inside the Matrix, crews on multiple ships readied a counterstrike against the Sentinels, but an EMP detonated prematurely before they reached position, crippling 5 vessels and killing everyone aboard, with no explanation except from one survivor pulled unconscious from the wreckage. Bane, though no one realizes Smith's mind now controls his body, of someone plugged into the Matrix, despite Neo lying unjacked in a coma, just as a call from Seraph urges them to see the Oracle immediately, while Neo wakes at a train station where a young girl named Sati tells him the next train leads into the Matrix. That's where Sati and her parents are headed, but Neo can't go with them because the trained man refuses. Meanwhile, Morpheus and Trinity see the Oracle, who now has a new appearance after the Merovingian destroyed her last form and she was rebuilt in a different shell. And she explains that Neo is stuck in a transitional space between the human world and the machine world, controlled by a program called the Trainman, who they must get to Neo before the Trainman does, since the Trainman works for the Merovingian and has put a bounty on them. But Seraph will lead them to the train station, where Neo meets Sati's parents, Ramachandra and Kamala. All 3 are programs, and Ramachandra, the power plant's recycling operations manager, explains their presence. The wife, an interactive software programmer, gave birth to a daughter who serves no function in the program, so she was marked for deletion, seeking help. They turned to the Merovingian, who arranged for the trainman to smuggle her into exile, while Seraph brought Trinity and Morpheus to the trainman, but he refused to assist and escaped capture. Then, when the train reached the station, he denied Neo entry, so Neo threatened him. But since the trainman built and controlled the place, he struck. Neo chases the leaves in a futile loop through the station, always returning to his starting point before the train arrives. So Trinity, Morpheus, and Seraph instead confront the Merovingian, biting through his guards to reach him at the back of his club, though he agrees to talk. Merovingian's head, while Seraph and Morpheus are held at gunpoint, yet she still demands Neo's return or threatens to kill everyone. Neo accepts her conditions and is released from the Matrix, then visits the Oracle, where he asks how he entered without a physical connection and how he halted 4 sentinels with his mind. The architect admits he can't predict choices in his projections, so he doesn't truly understand them. When Neo asks what she wants, she replies that she wants the same thing as him, the war's end, though she doesn't know if Zion can be saved, but she does know where Neo must go to find out, warning that if Neo fails, there may be no future for any of them, since, as she explains, everything with a beginning must eventually end, including Smith. He'll soon gain the ability to destroy the Matrix, but won't stop there. He'll erase everything, asks Neo. He is you, she replies. Your opposite, your negative, the result of the. Neo, struggling to balance the equation, wakes in the real world and tells the crew he needs more time inside the Matrix, while Smith and his cloned army reach the Oracle. But Seraph attempts to secretly take Sati away from the Oracle's care, but both are captured, converted into more Smith copies, though the process appears unusually violent, alarming the watching clones, and once the Oracle transforms, Smith pulls his hand back, only to recoil when the new copy removes its sunglasses and erupts into manic laughter. When Smith's real-world version finally awakens with Oracle's foresight, but claims no memory under questioning, Captain Roland orders the Doctor to restore it later, only to then learn that the Logos, Niobe's ship, has been found, though apparently powered down. Boarding from the Hammer, they discover Niobe and a few surviving crew, downed after a Sentinel attack, but with their ship intact and restartable via a jump from the Hammer. While at the Council, Commander Locke warns that machine infiltration into the city would drastically cut survival chances, making their top priority halting the dock's digging machines, a near impossible task requiring every soldier Locke can gather. Additional volunteers, including Link's wife Z, who crafts shells while clinging to the hope that holding the dock might let her see Link again, have stepped forward as requested, among them a boy under 18, who idolizes Neo and, though too young to enlist, pleads with the Armored Personnel Unit's Captain Mafuni for a chance and is allowed. Meanwhile, Naomi and Roland plan their next move as the Sentinels dig nearby. Niobe notes that their return paths to Zion are few and highlights a narrow support line they could use, but Roland objects, arguing it's too winding and tight for safe piloting, though she insists she can manage it. Then Neo arrives, announcing he must take one of the two ships to fly to the Machine City, which Roland mocks as madness since no vessel has come within 100 kilometers of it in a century. Yet Niobe trusts Neo and offers her own ship, while the others will regroup on the Hammer with Ha at the controls. As Zion's support line transmits the feed, the infirmary doctor readies a drug to restore Bane's memory, but he kills her before she can, just as Neo prepares to leave, and Trinity insists on joining, despite knowing the mission is likely suicide, telling him it was an honor. As Morpheus responds, "The honor is still mine." Neo and Trinity depart for the Machine City while Morpheus, Niobe, and the others head to Zion, unaware that Bane has stowed away on their ship, where he ambushes them, traps Trinity below deck, and holds Neo at gunpoint, forcing him to endure the attacker's deranged speech until Neo recognizes him as Smith. Neo struggles for the gun during the power distraction and overpowers Bane, until Bane seizes a live wire and jabs it into Neo's eyes. Blinded, Neo is mocked by Bane, who readies to kill him, but by sensing the machine code in Bane's body, Neo spots Smith, evades Bane's strikes, and counters, killing him before freeing Trinity, whom he reassures, telling her things will be fine, though she must drive, while the Armored Personnel Units, well, Womanduus enters Wonduus see dock, Wonduus Takus move to the dock for the Sentinel's arrival, joined by Z and her friend Chara, who head there to operate one. At the dock, A digger breaks through with a handmade bazooka as a swarm of sentinels follows. The APUs return fire while Z-Chara and other soldiers chase the digger with missiles, trying to stop it before it reaches the city. Though missiles hit the machine, it keeps digging, forcing Z and Chara to reposition for a better shot. And this time, Chara cripples its leg, toppling it. But the attack draws the sentinels' attention, so they flee to another spot. The celebration ends abruptly when a second machine appears. Z and Chara rush through the tunnels to attack it, but sentinels block Chara's missile, forcing them to flee, with Z escaping while Chara is torn apart. Meanwhile, the hammer reaches Zion after a tough fight through sentinels, and though Niobe is minutes from docking, Locke learns his team can use the hammer's EMP against the sentinels, only for Locke to warn it would destroy their entire defense grid. As we detonate the EMP inside, "We'll lose the dock, sir. We've already lost it," Locke replies, before another crew member reports that the sentinels are damaging the... Since they can't open it for the hammer, they alert the APUs that someone must manually pry it open. Most dock troops are killed. But Captain Mifune survives among the few still fighting, and when he calls for a reload, the boy rushes across the battlefield with ammo, reloads the APU, and then as the captain gasps his last breaths, he orders the dying kid to open the gate for the hammer, while the command center radios that the ship will arrive in 2 minutes. Z overhears this and, realizing Link is aboard, sprints to the gate, barely zapping 2 sentinels that nearly block the kid, who, with her help, fires at the counterweight to open it, just as the hammer reaches them, at which point Link triggers the EMP to disable nearby sentinels, allowing the ship to land and reunite Z and Link. Amid celebrations, before Commander Locke reveals to Niobe, Roland, and Morpheus their mistake, the EMP also crippled all their defenses just as another machine wave approaches. Within moments of their arrival, the wave will hit, leaving them defenseless and forcing the teams to retreat while sealing the dock to buy time. Yet, the sentinels repair the digging machines, which keep advancing towards Zion. Commander Locke then informs the Council that in under 2 hours, the machines will break through, prompting all humans to fall back to the temple, where a narrow passage will funnel the machines into a bottleneck, slightly improving their desperate last stand odds. A council member asks, "Commander, do you think we have any chance of surviving?" To which Locke replies, "If I were you, counselor, I wouldn't ask me that question, I'd ask him." As Neo, Trinity, and the Elsewhere, Trinity approach the machine city in flight, Neo senses the surrounding machines as glowing lights in his mind, though they're pursued and briefly halt their attackers, just as he once stopped the sentinels before being overpowered and forced to flee upward through the dark clouds where Trinity glimpses sunlight and clear blue sky beyond the scorched layer before they plunge back into the machine-ruined wasteland and crash, leaving her impaled by debris on impact. As the ship carries her as far as it can, she confesses to Neo that she's fatally wounded, urges him to save Zion, and tells him she loves him, grateful for every moment they shared, then asks for one last kiss before dying. Neo sobs, crawls from the wreckage, and walks through the dark city, which a massive machine looms ahead as Neo requests a chance to speak. Then, a swarm of smaller machines forms a face, the Deus Ex Machina, and declares that Neo has proposed a deal. The rogue program Smith has escaped their control and will soon overrun the city. The machines can't stop Neo. Both he and the machines are anomalies beyond each other's control, so they ask what he wants in exchange, and he demands peace for Zion. The Sentinels immediately retreat as the machines let Neo act on his promise, and though no one understands why, Niobe and Morpheus realize it's his doing. The machines pull Neo into the Matrix, where he discovers a ruined world of never-ending storms where every human has been replaced by Smith. As Neo walks forward, a single Smith, the one who copied himself from the Oracle, greets Mr. Anderson, saying he's already seen the future, knows how it ends, and will now simply watch and Smith declares, "I already know I'm the one who defeats you." As their fight rages from the streets to the skies and into a building, Neo is knocked down, and Smith seizes the moment to thank him for revealing life's purpose. To end, Neo rises, gestures for Smith to strike again, and their battle resumes until Smith slams Neo into a crater. He demands of Neo why he keeps rising. Does he even grasp what he's fighting for? Freedom? Truth? Maybe love? Just illusions, Mr. Anderson? Then raves about the shifting nature of perception, the flimsy constructs of a struggling to defend a life with no meaning or purpose. Neo gets back up. "Why, Mr. Anderson?" Smith demands. "Why do you persist?" "Because I choose to," Neo replies. They keep fighting until Smith knocks him down again, then pauses When Neo sees an image from his premonition, he realizes this is the end and knows he must say something, so he speaks. Everything that has a beginning has an end. Confused by his own words, Neo is even more startled when Smith calls him Neo for the first time. Smith panics when Oracle speaks through him, calling it a trick, so Neo lets Smith overwrite him, creating one last copy. When Smith asks, "Is it over?" the Neo-Smith copy nods before the machines blast Neo's body with a destructive pulse, embedding his mind in the Smith program to finally destroy his enemy. And as the Smiths explode in glowing bursts, the Matrix fills with light. As Neo's body twitches, glows, and slumps, limp-armed outside the Matrix, while Zion rejoices, the machines pull back inside. The Smith copies dissolve, leaving the overwritten humans, including the Oracle and Sati, behind as the weather stabilizes. The architect then confronts the Oracle, accusing her of a reckless gamble with events to force peace, demanding how long she expects it to hold, to which she answers as long as it can, before asking if those in the Matrix who wish to leave will be freed. The architect confirms they will. The architect snaps, "Do you think I'm human?" before walking away just as Seraph and Satya arrive to a brilliant sunset over the city. And Sati tells the Oracle she created it for Neo, before asking if they'll ever. Seraph asks if you always knew we'd see him again, but I didn't, though I believe the Oracle's claim that we would. And now, thankfully, we know she was right. Neo will return.